The soul is healed by being with children. To live without hope is to cease to live. If you want to overcome the whole world, overcome yourself. Beauty will save the world. Man is a mystery. It needs to be unraveled, and if you spend your whole life unraveling it, don't say that you've wasted time. The secret of man's being is not only to live but to have something to live for. Everyone thinks of changing the world, but no one thinks of changing himself. Pain and suffering are always inevitable for a large intelligence and a deep heart. Nothing in this world is harder than speaking the truth, nothing easier than flattery. The degree of civilization in a society can be judged by entering its prisons. If there is no God, everything is permitted. It is not by confining one's neighbor that one is convinced, but by listening to him. To love someone means to see him as God intended him. Despair is typical of those who do not understand the causes of evil, see no way out, and are incapable of struggle. The mystery of human existence lies not in just staying alive, but in finding something to live for. A man who lies to himself, and believes his own lies, becomes unable to recognize truth, either in himself or in anyone else, and he ends up losing respect for himself and for others. There is no subject so old that something new cannot be said about it. I believe the best definition of man is the ungrateful biped. Realists do not fear the results of their study. It is better to be unhappy and know the worst, than to be happy in a fool's paradise. We are all guilty of everything and for everyone before everyone, and I more than the others. The darker the night, the brighter the stars, the deeper the grief, the closer is God. Man only likes to count his troubles, he doesn't calculate his happiness. Taking a new step, uttering a new word, is what people fear most. Suffering is part and parcel of extensive intelligence and a feeling heart. A fool with a heart and no sense is just as unhappy as a fool with sense and no heart. Without a firm idea of himself and the purpose of his life, man cannot live even if surrounded with bread. Lying to ourselves is more deeply ingrained than lying to others. The greatest happiness is to know the source of unhappiness. People talk sometimes of bestial cruelty, but that's a great injustice and insult to the beasts. A beast can never be so cruel as a man, so artistically cruel. Above all, don't lie to yourself. But how could you live and have no story to tell? One can know a man from his laugh, and if you like a man's laugh before you know anything of him, you may confidently say that he is a good man. There is no virtue if there is no immortality. To go wrong in one's own way is better than to go right in someone else's. What is hell? I maintain that it is the suffering of being unable to love. Freedom and bread enough for all are inconceivable together. A beast can never be as cruel as a human being, so artistically, so picturesquely cruel. Happiness does not lie in happiness, but in the achievement of it. The more I love humanity in general, the less I love man in particular. The cleverest of all, in my opinion, is the man who calls himself a fool at least once a month. It seems, in fact, as though the second half of a man's life is made up of nothing but the habits he has accumulated during the first half. Weakness is a great thing, and strength is nothing. When a man is just born, he is weak and flexible. When he dies, he is hard and insensitive. Power is given only to those who dare to lower themselves and pick it up. Only one thing matters, one thing, to be able to dare. If you were to destroy in mankind the belief in immortality, not only love but every living force maintaining the life of the world would at once be dried up. By interpreting freedom as the multiplication and rapid satisfaction of desires, people distort their own nature. It's not God that I don't accept, Alyosha, only I most respectfully return him the ticket. The formula 2 and 2 make 5 is not without its attractions. Deprived of meaningful work, men and women lose their reason for existence. They go stark, raving mad. There is no sin, and there can be no sin on all the earth, which the Lord will not forgive to the truly repentant. Love in action is a harsh and dreadful thing compared with love in dreams. The cleverest of all, in my opinion, is the man who calls himself a fool at least once a month. There are things which a man is afraid to tell even to himself, and every decent man has a number of such things stored away in his mind. It is not possible to eat me without insisting that I sing praises of my devourer. A man who lies to himself is often the first to take offense. The heart has its reasons which reason knows not of. To be too conscious is an illness, a real thoroughgoing illness. Respect was invented to cover the empty place where love should be. The more you succeed in loving, the more you'll be convinced at the existence of God and the immortality of your soul. If you fear too much, it will come true.